Power of suggestion, deflection, and misdirection in human conditioning. Throughout history, humans have been active participants in a grand narrative of manipulation, where the power of suggestion, deflection, and misdirection has shaped beliefs, behaviors, and societies. These psychological techniques, often likened to forms of magical manipulation, have been wielded by leaders, entertainers, and media figures alike. As societies evolved, the need to control information and perceptions became increasingly paramount, leading to a collective psyche that is both conditioned and programmed by these influences. Understanding the fundamentals. The power of suggestion. The power of suggestion roots itself deeply in the human psyche, defined by our inherent susceptibility to external cues that shape our thoughts and behaviors. Suggestion can be subtle or overt, appearing in various forms, from subliminal messaging to persuasive rhetoric. It operates by embedding ideas in the subconscious, often without an individual's conscious awareness. Historical context. In ancient civilizations, leaders often employed suggestion to maintain control over their people. Religious figures would frame their messages in ways that resonated with the masses, connecting divine will to the ruler's edicts. From Egyptian pharaohs to Roman emperors, suggestion was a tool for fostering loyalty and obedience. The rise of psychology in the late 19th and early 20th centuries brought a new scientific lens to the understanding of suggestion. Figures like Sigmund Freud explored the subconscious mind, uncovering mechanisms whereby suggestion could alter behaviors and perceptions. This knowledge laid the groundwork for fields like advertising, where companies create narratives that evoke strong emotional responses and compel consumers to act, a technique employed extensively in the modern marketplace. Deflection, steering attention away. Deflection operates on the principle of redirection. It involves shifting focus from the uncomfortable, threatening, or undesirable to something more palatable. This technique has been used throughout history, particularly in political discourse, where leaders often divert attention away from critical issues by introducing sensational topics or scapegoats. The art of distraction. Deflection is not merely an act of avoidance. It is an art form exercised masterfully by those in power. In ancient Rome, gladiatorial games served as a means of deflection, distracting the populace from governmental corruption and social issues. This tactic has shown remarkable longevity in the annals of governance, with contemporary politicians often employing similar strategies to maintain the status quo. In everyday life, deflection is also present in interpersonal communication. When faced with uncomfortable questions, individuals may employ humor or redirect conversations to avoid confrontation. This interpersonal misdirection helps maintain social harmony, yet can obfuscate important discussions. Misdirection, the illusion of control. Misdirection, closely related to suggestion and deflection, manifests the idea that attention can be manipulated to create illusions. In magic shows, magicians use misdirection to lead the audience's focus away from the secret maneuvers involved in the trick. This phenomenon extends far beyond entertainment, permeating politics, media, and social interactions. Political misdirection. Political leaders often utilize misdirection to obscure their actions. For example, during a scandal, a leader may release a controversial policy to distract from negative news cycles. By focusing public attention on the new policy, they can shift narratives away from accountability and scrutiny. Moreover, media outlets can engage in misdirection by choosing which stories to highlight or underreport. Sensational headlines can overshadow pressing issues, pulling audiences' attention toward distractions and headlines that serve specific agendas. This creates a cycle in which functionality of information becomes compromised, leading to a fragmented societal understanding. The glamour response: secrecy and information control. The glamour response emerges from intelligence practices where officials refuse to confirm or deny the existence of certain information. Named after the Glamour Explorer, a ship involved in a secret CIA operation, this tactic is a hallmark of modern information management, reflecting the extent to which governments can control narratives. Implications of the glamour response. The glamour response exemplifies the complexities of transparency and secrecy in governance. When officials employ this tactic, it not only protects national security, but also manipulates public perception, allowing the government to maintain control over sensitive information while avoiding accountability. This response is not limited to military operations. It can manifest in various forms, such as corporate communications, legal disputes, and public relations crises. When organizations withhold information, they create an environment ripe for speculation and conspiracy theories, further complicating public discourse. The conditioning of societies. The blend of suggestion, deflection, and misdirection encapsulates techniques historically embedded within societal structures. These methods have gradually conditioned human thought and behavior, resulting in a populace that is often unconsciously aligned with the interests of those in power. Cultural narratives and conditioning. Across cultures, we identify common themes where myths, folklore, and religion serve to condition societal norms and behaviors. For example, stories of divine retribution often reinforce moral and ethical standards, shaping individual behavior in ways aligned with cultural expectations. These narratives suggest that deviations from societal norms lead to grave consequences, a form of conditioning that promotes conformity. In the modern world, media narratives serve as a form of conditioning, immersing audiences in stories that reinforce prevailing ideologies. News coverage and entertainment become vehicles for shaping public desires, fears, and expectations. This ongoing conditioning influences how individuals respond to contemporary challenges, aligning personal beliefs and actions with pre-existing societal narratives. Advertising, subliminal conditioning. Advertising is a particularly notable area where conditioning occurs systematically. The principles of suggestion, deflection, and misdirection inform advertising strategies. Marketers craft narratives that play on desires, leveraging social proof and familiar imagery to suggest that consumption leads to happiness, acceptance, or success. Over time, repeated exposure to certain messages lodges them within the subconscious, conditioning consumer behavior to align with corporate interests. This phenomenon is evident across all forms of media, where advertisements populated in social media feeds or on television become part of cultural lexicons that shape expectations and aspirations. Contemporary manifestations and challenges. As we navigate the 21st century, the techniques of suggestion, deflection, and misdirection continue to evolve, facilitated by advances in technology. Social media platforms and digital communication create new avenues for manipulation, prompting enhanced vulnerabilities among audiences unprepared for the onslaught of information. The propagation of misinformation. In a digital age, misinformation can spread like wildfire, exacerbating the challenges of suggestion and deflection. The rapid dissemination of false information can lead to societal divisions and confusion, blurring the lines between fact and fiction. Conspiracy theories flourish in this environment, fed by strategic misdirection and deflection from credible information. The challenge lies in discerning truth from manipulation. As information consumers, individuals must cultivate critical thinking skills and digital literacy, to navigate the complexities of modern media. This empowers people not only to recognize manipulative tactics, but also to engage thoughtfully with information that influences their lives. The role of social movements. Despite the pervasiveness of suggestion, deflection, and misdirection, social movements throughout history highlight a counter-narrative. Grassroots movements often arise in response to perceived manipulation, channeling collective discontent into action. The fight for civil rights, environmental justice, and social equity showcases society's inherent capacity for resistance against oppressive structures. Contemporary movements leverage technology to spread awareness and counteract misdirection. Social media platforms can be tools for mobilization, creating networks of influence that challenge prevailing narratives. This shift results in greater transparency and accountability in social and political domains, dismantling the barriers created by those who rely on manipulation. The interplay of human psychology and power. The interplay between human psychology and power dynamics remains central to understanding the efficacy of suggestion, deflection, and misdirection. As societies evolve, the nuances of human conditioning adapt, reflecting the desires, fears, and needs of the time. The influence of cognitive biases. Cognitive biases play a significant role in how individuals perceive information and are susceptible to manipulation. Anchoring bias, confirmation bias, and availability heuristics all contribute to the susceptibility of suggestion. These mental shortcuts often lead individuals to form opinions based on incomplete or misleading information, creating an environment where misdirection can thrive. By understanding these biases, individuals can develop strategies to counteract their effects. Promoting media literacy and critical thinking curricula serves as an antidote, fostering greater resilience against manipulation. The ethical considerations. While the power of suggestion, deflection, and misdirection can be used for harm, it is essential to recognize the ethical implications of these techniques. In various contexts, whether marketing, politics, or personal relationships, manipulation can lead to breaches of trust and accountability. Practitioners in fields such as advertising and journalism should strive for transparency and integrity, where influencing audiences is grounded in ethical practice. As consumers navigate information landscapes, ethical consideration should also extend to their responsibilities in supporting credible sources and questioning narratives that serve to divide rather than unite. Conclusion: navigating the landscape of influence. The power of suggestion, deflection, and misdirection encapsulates a fascinating interplay that shapes human experience. As societies work through the complexities of manipulation, understanding the history and techniques of these influences serves as an imperative. In the pursuit of truth and accountability, societies must foster environments where critical thinking flourishes. Embracing education, media literacy, and ethical practices empowers individuals and communities to transcend the limitations imposed by manipulation. By becoming more aware of the forces at play, people can assert control over their beliefs, actions, and ultimately, their destinies. Through a conscious engagement with information and a commitment to seeking truth, societies can counter the historical legacies of suggestion and misdirection. Empowered individuals are essential in shaping societies that value transparency, integrity, and collective growth, thus paving the way for a future that oscillates toward enlightenment rather than deception. This article was converted for free by the courtesy of Audio Read. If you enjoy the service, please consider upgrading your plan to listen to up to 500,000 words per article. Simply go to audioread.com/ad and you'll see the upgrade option. Your support helps us keep making the service better. Thank you.